Hi, my name is Nina Means. I'm the director for Austin Community College Fashion Incubator, and we are here for ACCFI Presents. I am so happy to be here with Rick Gabriel, who is the VP Store Manager of Macy's Barton Creek Square. And, we are really excited about some exciting projects coming up here with Macy's in the very, very near future. If you've been watching our Instagram or our LinkedIn or following along on our email listserv, you've gotten some information from us about a very exciting new project sponsored by Macy's. So, Rick, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Nina. Thanks for asking us, and always enjoy getting to collaborate with you to bring fashion into the Austin area.
Thank you, thank you. We are so fortunate to have been able to connect with you. Whenever you reached out to us, we I think it'd be really cool to tell everyone, what was that story? Like, how did you find us? How did you originally hear about the Fashion Incubator?
Yeah, you know, things really kind of came together at just the right time. So, we were investing in our store as a company. We made a stance that stores are an important part of the future. Like, we recognize how the business is evolving and, the omni aspect to this entire industry. But we also believe that, with a store, it's a heartbeat of our business as well. People come to interact. They still like to touch and feel. We're America's department store, so we're part of a lot of celebrations and things like that. So at the time, we were, as a company, investing, and Barton Creek Square was one of the stores that we were going to, lean into and really try to help leverage, new fixturing, new carpeting, new lighting, updated products. And then another piece of it was really enhancing the community engagement part, right?
Absolutely.
So as we're taking off in this growth journey, I'm watching the news one morning and I see just a little blip about this new program that's coming. The ACC, in partnership with the city of Austin, is launching this fashion incubator. A little light went off above my head, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if we're trying to get involved in the community, what a great synergy. And so get to work. I kind of Google search it, got some information, find out who the director was, and then that's when that first email popped into your inbox, and just kind of introduced myself, try to understand a little bit more, right? And so I think we were both a little bit not sure where this was going to go initially. Right. We were about it, but it was a lot of like, understand more about you trying to understand more about what we could do. And then, our partnership was able to really blossom from there. And what I love is like how we support each other for this common cause of, making a difference within the community and tying it into the fashion aspect.
Absolutely. And, we can't thank you enough for reaching out because, this is really helping us to, reach more people, being attached to the Macy's brand, even as we share this new exciting thing. I can't wait to tell everyone about at the end of this. It's really, helped us to really grow our impact as well. And so we really appreciate being able to connect with you, Rick, specifically, because I feel like you've got a genuine heart for the community. You really believe in the Macy's brand. We've talked about this before, and it's like, nothing's really more American than Macy's. It's really kind of at the bedrock of every experience that we do. It's the Thanksgiving parade. It's the way that we dress. Yeah. It's the brands that we love, and so there's some things that we really value, just in the fabric of our society that Macy's has really brought to, us as a whole, but I was particularly excited that you were so focused on building community. What has Macy's involvement been to support developing the next generation of fashion talent?
Yeah, so when you think big picture, and you're aware from this industry, right? We've got a lot of different programs, especially through our New York office, where we go out and we help fund and teach and give access to women-owned business, minority-owned businesses, really presenting the opportunities. You hear a lot about that right now. Mm-hmm. Higher culture, right? About the equity type approach to it, and so we try to embrace that and and recognize that, sometimes maybe somebody needs more of a hand up and a helping opportunity. Their skills and talent they have are there. It's just finding that right connection. So, as a company, we've been very involved in that. And that was another piece of, this being so local, where it really resonated with me. It was an opportunity to do a similar type thing here within the Austin community, where we can, find somebody that maybe like immensely talented and creative, but just hasn't known the right connection or been able to piece it all together. And if we can be part of supporting somebody on their journey like that and help foster their success, like what a rewarding thing. And that's where it like the internal part of me that drives that. And then it definitely mirrors, what the company expects and wants to be able to do within our community.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you kind of hit a lot of those moments of what's happening currently and how important it is for us to, have a diverse and inclusive experience in retail and fashion. It typically has not been the same entry points for all brands. And so I love that even before this movement has become more front and center in the last, year, you know, Macy's has been working in this space in diversity and inclusion for some time. So it's been nice to be able to connect authentically with brands that have already identified opportunities and have been acting on it. But now we get a chance to tell the story again, kind of in this context. So, I also one of the things that I personally love, Rick, is that I love working with people who not just share my drive for excellence and creating really meaningful programs, but also people who just want to see good things happen, and are trying to make an impact. And honestly, I feel like we really kind of connected very quickly on those two things. It's like, okay, how are we going to make this excellent, and how are we going to make an impact? And I love that about the way that we've been able to work together so far. So I really appreciate you as a connector, to help us leverage these resources to help us connect to our community authentically. As a store manager for Macy's Barton Creek Square, what do you think Austin has to offer the fashion industry? It's a unique space.
It is for sure. And I think there's a couple different ways that, you can look at it. Number one is from within the market, right? So this market is very diverse. You go from a very traditional customer to very much cutting edge. And so there's a lot of space for people to explore, find their niche, and there's a segment that can find it and respond to it. So I think, one thing about Austin is the breadth of categories that people are searching for. The other thing is how, and it's specifically, with your program, and I think one of the things that resonated with me, even from a national company that is, in most of the major markets and has this total. We also, take it down. Our whole thing is get down into the community and serving the people that are around you. And so with Austin, right, one of the things is about the local. And so this was an opportunity to help kind of tap into that and foster those local designers that have come up from within the Austin market and be able to give them that voice. And it takes our national brand and brings it into making it, my Macy's. The customers that shop around us, they come to Barton Creek Square in particular because we were able to localize in a way and be able to alter a national plan down and cater it to the local customer. Mm-hmm. And so this is kind of an extension of that when you bring in the people from around this area that are going to be designing things. So,
absolutely.
I think it's definitely a very complex and wide-ranging market, and a lot of ways you can take your business to be able to generate some success.
Absolutely. I actually really love that about Austin too. There's such a range and it's a diversity of expression. There's a lot of unique ways that people put themselves together. And so you may find someone who's using a very classic piece with a very trendy piece with a very, you really see a lot of cross pollination of the various styles, but they're always put together in a way that I feel like is uniquely Austin, which has been really interesting to see. But there's also been Austin's really special in that I feel like there's a unique focus on what's homegrown here as well. I mean, I'm sure you kind of feel that as well, and, I love that Macy's is supporting local designers and local businesses as they build their, work, because, it really helps us to all kind of be a part of that fabric of, really, bringing up our communities together. So we love getting a chance to partner with Macy's to help elevate those brands and to bring resources to them. One of the things that we didn't get a chance to tell you guys, for those who are watching with us, is that, Rick made a donation through their nonprofit arm of Macy's to the Fashion Incubator, which help us fund this new exciting thing that we're going to share with you in just a moment. But in addition to that, as they've been updating the store at Macy's Barton Creek and shifting into new product, we were actually the recipients and beneficiaries of some of the, extra, as things have, in-kind donations for fixtures and other things that can be utilized to help small businesses display their work in a professional way, to make it look really great in the incubator space itself. And Rick, we are really appreciative of your willingness to help us, get things set up and looking great. So thank you.
Absolutely.
We have our
My
team
pleasure.
today.
It was very exciting to come early on. It was nice to be there in the process and be able to see kind of the blank canvas that you were working with. And, I know that a lot of space to fill and a lot of people that you're trying to help accommodate. And so to be able to be part of that, again, it was our pleasure to be able to help it. And I know we've gone virtually, so maybe a lot of people aren't going to get into that space in the near term, but I know that you're going to have it well positioned. So, when we come out on the other side of this and things evolve, and they're going to be able to come and take advantage of that space right there within the section too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We are so looking forward to coming on the other side of this. I know everyone is. This pandemic has really kind of taken us, really taken the world by storm, quite literally. But we are really excited about what's coming up next. I want to take a little bit of time. I think I had a couple of more things I wanted to catch up with you about, but I want to tell everyone what this new exciting thing is, because I've been kind of hinting at it this whole time. Macy's is actually sponsoring our first virtual series called The Future of Fashion. And we are so, so excited to bring this to you, because this is really going to highlight for small businesses, for designers, what is it going to take for you to launch your business. And so if you were kind of considering and thinking, what am I going to do in order to, get my collections or my capsule, into the hands of someone who really wants to love it, at their home or in a store, this is really going to give you kind of that checklist of what to expect. We've got our industry veterans coming in to help teach those courses. It's going to be exciting. But we're also going to have some incredible cameos. We're working on some folks from our new partnership at Macy's, but we will get a chance to share with you a bit more in detail about that. But Rick, as we're still kind of sorting out the last little bit of this here, whenever young designers are looking at selling into stores or even just placement in stores, I mean, you've got 20 years of experience running stores, over 20 years of experience running stores in this business. What are some things that you've noticed with emerging designers as they're kind of scaling, they're kind of showing up in a store like yours for the first time?
Yeah, so I think it kind of all starts with a great product that's really going to be targeted to the market and the customer that is there. So having the right thing in the right place. And then, when you can share a vision of how you see it being presented to be able to resonate with that shopper, that goes a long way. I think there's a wide spectrum of quality and price that can be, so you can find your niche in there. I think the biggest thing that they want, value is kind of an ongoing theme that I hear from shoppers on all ends of the spectrum. It's just, does the ask match what they're getting, and do they perceive that to be, a good value for the money that we're asking them to put out there. So congruency amongst the pieces. So when a whole collection can tie together, I think that really also is something that helps, separate good from great, and pushes them forward. And then, once you make that first big connection, then it's able to build upon that, and that you build some of that loyalty.
That's great, Rick. I feel like you gave me so many good chunks to I'm like, okay, there's congruency in the collection itself. There's, matching the customer's expectation to the value that you're getting. It's like, hey, I can buy this from this brand for this price, so why would I buy it from you? And so there's a bit of that. Oh, Rick, there we are. Gotcha. We'll, I'm going to say we'll probably fix some things in post. But we're really excited about, learning these kinds of things from, great minds like Rick, because here's the thing, we, at the Fashion Incubator, we all come with our various backgrounds, and we'll all share our information about, how you get from point A to point B. But I think where the secret sauce is with the Fashion Incubator and with, what we're able to do for our local community is how we're able to engage our community partners that have a breadth of knowledge that's going to transform the way that you think about what you do. It's one thing to hear, maybe it's someone in your fashion design program say, oh, well, think about the product, think about the color, think about the texture, think about how the pieces hang together. It's another thing altogether whenever the buyer or the retailer says, you know what, this doesn't work on our floor. And understanding why and how to fix it and what kinds of things you should be checking off of your list of how to make your brand really shine in a space like Macy's, in a space, that's really got a lot of different brands that are doing incredible work. Rick, can you tell me a little bit more about congruency? Because I think that that's actually something that would be interesting to unpack just a little bit more. If you're talking about how the styles hang together, tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, when we're talking about it, and I think about one of the times that you actually came to the store and you were looking at one of our new collections, right? And there's a table and a rack hanging on the back of it where you kind of see some side hang, and then you see some front things, and being able to kind of have that whole picture painted together as you're putting your collection together. What's it going to look like? Is it on a table? Should this be something that's laid out to show the pattern, the detail? Is it something that gets folded and stacked because of the way something's going to be there? I think it's that entire thread that pulls it all together. The colors play off of each other. And, if this piece was laid out next to this piece that's folded, you got to be able to, customers, especially sometimes in stores our size, right? There's so many things to pick from. They have their own taste and they have an idea, but they also like that help in visualizing it all together. And what's this going to look like on me? And I love these pants. What should I go with it? So the more that you can make that easy and seamless for them right within where you're at, I think that also leads to the success of the collection. So you could have one great item, but you don't see the way it all works. They may pick up your pants and then go buy other stuff to go with it in other areas. And what you're wanting for your brand and your collection is, your entire vision to come together.
This is gold, Rick. Let me just tell you, these are things that I learned after working as a designer for several years in New York City, after being working in that space. But as an emerging designer, you don't get that no one tells you that. No one gives you that kind of insight into how the product, not just that the collection works together within itself, but how is it displayed? You know, how does it look on the mannequin? Does it go on the mannequin? You know, does it get folded? You know, all of these things come into how does that product move off the floor? You know, and we want people to buy it. You know, we want them to all buy the whole look. You know, you're to your point. You're like, okay, are they going to just buy the pant and then walk off and buy the shirt from somebody else? And we don't want that. As an emerging designer, you want to sell as many pieces as you possibly can. So that's incredible. You know, we will have to find a way, Rick, to re-engage you to say those words again, so that, because it comes differently from Macy's Barton Creek Square than it does from, you know, hey, I'm the director for your incubator. I'm telling you, this is what they're going to tell you. So they need to hear from you. Let me tell you, we'll have to coordinate something. That's
Absolutely.
gold, man. That's great. So, you know, in terms of, you know, we're kind of looking at the last few minutes here. Are there any, I know that there's been a lot of different things that Macy's has been working on. Are there any unique initiatives, you know, Macy's is doing now that we should all be aware of? What kinds of things would be, especially in the emerging designer space, you know, what kinds of things do you think would be helpful for us
Yeah.
to know?
So definitely, and I think, you know, we kind of bring the back full circle. We kind of talked about, you know, this whole COVID virtual world, the way that this entire industry has been forced forward and to think of things differently because of the circumstances that we were dealt here in 2020. You know, a couple things that stick out, and we had started this before COVID, but there was up in Dallas, it's a one-of-a-kind little called Market at Macy's. It's an off-mall, little interactive store. It's got some of the fashion, but it also becomes a community meeting place. And it's a place that served coffee and bagels. And so it's really just another way to take in some of the fashion and also be a part of the local community. So I think that's something that as a company, obviously right now is a very challenging time to be, you know, opening new things where you're expecting people to come out to you. But it's something that, you know, we got a taste of it, and we believe that it's going to be part of what things will look like going forward. You know, as a company, we also continue to explore and make a bigger mark in the off-price piece. You know, our store added a backstage as part of last year, which is our version of that, and it offers our shoppers a whole nother array of designer options, faster fashion, thrill of the hunt. So, you know, I think we're looking at ways that we can engage the designer and fashion community on supplying that type of a thing. And then, you know, from an innovation standpoint, just as this whole industry continues to try to forge that new path forward, not knowing exactly how things are going to come out, you know, look at even the Thanksgiving Day parade, right? So we're going to do it virtually this year. Our stores aren't open on Thanksgiving, but we're still reimagining what the holiday is going to look like and how, you know, we can maintain our presence and connect to that entire celebration piece. So I think there's a lot of different aspects that we're going to continue to press forward with new and creative ways to be there for our customers in the way she wants, when she wants, with what she wants.
That's incredible. I actually have always been so amazed at the different ways that Macy's is constantly evolving. And I'm personally wanting to make a road trip to that marketplace. That sounds amazing. I hope that I hope that next year it does really well. So they do one in Austin too. But it's,
Yeah.
It sounds like the kind of thing that we would love in Austin, that kind of coffee and food and shopping and, you know, kind of just like hanging out in event space, and it's flex space. And, you know, we love a good flex space, you know, so, so it's
Yeah.
always, it's nice to be able to to evolve, you know, what our experiences are when we're out in the community. So Macy's is again, out on the forefront doing something special. One of the things that I know that we had talked about some time ago was the workshops that you guys do for businesses as well. And I think we kind of alluded to that earlier, but I just wanted to let people know that this is still something that Macy's does. I don't know if you guys are actually aware of this, and I want to do a little bit of unpacking for our audience. Macy's does incubation, guys. Macy's has been doing incubation in emerging markets for a very long time. I actually became aware of it when I lived in Washington, D.C., because there's a outpost there. There's one in Philadelphia, Chicago, and in San Francisco, and they're doing all very unique kinds of work. And so as we were, like, after Rick reached out, I was like, oh man, this is actually a really exciting opportunity for us to just, okay, let's test this partnership. Let's, get out into this virtual learning space. Let's see what happens. We are really excited about that. But I wanted to kind of just take a couple of minutes. I know we don't have as much time, but just to kind of talk about what the workshop is, because that's kind of like Incubator Plus. That's like for brands that are much more established from what I understand. But can you just unpack a little bit more about what the workshop is that Macy's does?
Yeah, and to your point, I think it's in some of those bigger markets where, I haven't had a ton of firsthand experience with it, but I think it's very similar in a way to what you're doing, only on a much larger scale. So, your program would be kind of an entry point, and then we take that in those markets and really enhance it and, open up bigger doors, go much deeper into the learnings, really foster it bigger, trying to look for those next, great designers that, may be part of our family as well. And if it doesn't turn out to that and they carve their own path, we're happy to have, there's a lot of space in here.
That's awesome.
We can just foster that entire culture. We're happy to be part of that.
That's great. Yeah, I actually love that because, you do need somewhere to start and to get a good foundation. But at some point in the future, you'll want to take it to the next level. And it sounds like the workshop really allows you to do that. I love that you guys groom vendors to, and designers to sell effectively through your stores, and this going to big box or going to a large retailer can be really overwhelming if you've only shipped small units, so the idea that you guys take the time to invest, your resources to support developing brands, it really means a lot to communities like us.
Well, I know it's a big part of, communities where they've been established. And like you said, we're kind of in the infancy stage here, but, maybe we can, between the two of us, we can help, make it another one where people have that type of scale.
Well, we really hope to see that. Your partnership on this project has really been really a cornerstone for us, and we're really excited about being able to build well, being able to draw on the support of brands like Macy's as we grow. We really see a lot of opportunity, as we've talked before, we're like, well, let's just explore what's possible, let's just see where this goes. And, we'll launch the first series and see, the response and the impact, and, and if we like it, then we'll look at doing more. But we've really gotten a lot of support from Macy's Media Relations. Lauren and Jacqueline in Chicago have been fantastic. They've been partnering with our communications team here at ACC. We've also had quite a lot of, I think we had initial engagement with Emma from the foundation side. And so we're really looking forward to creating more value and to be able to create more impact in our local community. So, Rick, again, thank you so much for joining me today. It's just been such a pleasure to speak with you here again so that everyone knows what's coming up with the Future of Fashion that's launching October 7th. It'll be 6 weeks of courses. I believe that course is pretty much sold out, but you can send us a note and we can see if we can waitlist you. And if there's some shifting, we'll make some adjustments. But definitely, check out our link. There will be an Eventbrite link that you can sign up for the course, or at least for the wait list. And we'd love to see you. So starting on October 7th, just a couple of weeks away. Rick, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time today.
Thank you. Absolutely, Nina. Thank you. We'll stay in touch.
Absolutely. Well, guys, that's it for ACCFI Presents. My name is Nina Means. I'm the director for Austin Community College Fashion Incubator. If you haven't started following us, you can follow us now. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel or catch us on our Instagram, LinkedIn, or Facebook at ACC Fashion Incubator, or on Twitter at ACC Fashion Incube, because we've got those shorter Twitter handles. And if you haven't signed up for our email list, we promise we won't overwhelm you with emails, but we'll let you know what's going on. It's fashion.incubator@austinCC.edu. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining us. And this has been ACCFI Presents with Macy's, Barton Creek Square. You guys should go visit. You'd love it.